So let's have a little chat, shall we? Let's have a little occult chat. This is your host, The Occult View. So recently, they did a documentary on Yolanda Saldivar. That is the woman who killed singer and sensation Selena back in 1995. So we're talking like 28, 29 years ago. 29 years ago, right? And everyone, everyone, myself included, was devastated to hear about Selena's murder because she was murdered. And Selena was like, I want to say she was equivalent to she was equivalent for the Latins and the Mexicans and the Hispanics and the Chicanos. She was like their Whitney Houston. She was like their Whitney Houston. She was equivalent to the Latin Hispanic Whitney Houston, in my opinion. She was beautiful. She had a beautiful voice. And one of my favorite songs, and I know y'all know what I'm talking about, I'm Dreaming. Late at night when all the world is dreaming. That song plays in my mind over and over again because that is one of my favorite songs that she sung. So Selena was a talent. She was young, she was beautiful, she was a talent. And the way she was murdered was just so calculated and so cold, in my opinion. So they come up with this documentary, right, of Yolanda Saldivar many years later, I think because she's coming up for parole and she wants to get out of prison. So now they're trying to paint a picture that we don't know the full story. So they had her family. I'm assuming that that was her family and not paid actors. But before I get into that, I have heard people say, maybe a year or two before this documentary, I'll get back to that. But a year or two before this documentary, I was hearing people rumblings that people have seen or have seen Yolanda Saldivar in public places. So my question is, have they already released her and we just don't know it? Because she should not be released, and I'll get into why she should not be released. So they have her family in this documentary, a niece, I think two nieces and a nephew. And I do have compassion for Yolanda Saldivar's family because one of the nieces, her name is Tina, one of them, she was also friends with Selena. And she's also devastated because she was like, it's my aunt, but Selena was my friend, and my aunt was the one who killed her because there is no accuse. She killed Selena. There is no question of that. She killed her. But I think the question is, did she do it on purpose? And I'm going to answer, yes, she did. And I'm going to tell you why. Because for a long time, back in the day, maybe a lot of you all that watch me were not born at that time, but back, or you might have been too young to remember, but back in the day, after Selena was killed, and maybe some things may become muddied now, and a lot of things have disappeared, and maybe people don't remember, but I do. They referred to Yolanda Salvador as a creepy type of stalker, like she was obsessed with Selena. Now, I don't know if that's true, but that is what she was. That is how she was referred to after Selena's murder, because she murdered her. So now they're trying to come up with this attempt, I believe, to get her paroled so she can get out of prison. So here it is, 2024, and now things are being revealed about Selena's personal about Selena's personal life and how Selena was having an affair with a Dr. Martinez. And at first he denied it years ago, but now he is admitting that he and Selena did have an affair while she was married to Christopher Perez, her husband. And there's this veil of question as it pertains to Yolanda Saldivar and her, handling of this situation because she was first she was Selena's fan club manager, and then she started working for Selena directly. She started out as a fan. Let's just start with that. Yolanda Saldivar started out as a fan of Selena's, and she was so enamored with Selena. She was so, drawn in and taken in by Selena. And when I say taken in, I don't mean Selena manipulated her, of course. Everyone was drawn to Selena. She just had that type of personality. She was an Aries. They can draw, they have a mesmerizing presence that can make you want to just, come closer to them, you know? So Yolanda became her fan club manager. So to make a long story short, money started missing from the fan club. Now, I'm going to say this in Yolanda's defense. There were never any charges brought brought upon her for embezzlement or stealing from the fan club. What happened was Selena's father, Abraham Quintia, I believe that's the last name. If I'm not saying it correctly, forgive me. But Abraham Quintia, he started getting phone calls from fans saying, hey, listen, we ordered this and we're not getting, the products. We're paying for it, but we're not getting our products. So he confronted Yolanda, and in her description of that meeting, she said that Abraham was basically very threatening towards her, Selena's father, that he really never liked her. I'm just going to say it that way. He never really liked Yolanda. And he was very threatening and intimidating towards her. And Yolanda claimed that people were slashing her tires, people had shot out her windows in her car, that she had been beaten up, she'd been roughed up by men, and all these other things she was alleging had happened to her, and she blamed Abraham Quintia for this. She blamed him for this. And I don't know. I think that when there's smoke, that there's fire, and people know he's known. Abraham Quintia is known, from what I understand, he's known. He's known for some things. He's known for some things, and I'm just gonna say it and leave it like that because I don't want him sending nobody to my house, child. You know what I mean? But he's known for some things, and maybe there's some things we don't know. But he does deny these. These are all allegations, by the way. But he denies these allegations. But personally, I think that when there's smoke, there's fire. Do I think Yolanda was lying about everything? No, I do not. But I do think but the stuff that she was not lying about is minimum compared to what I think she is lying about. And that is the murder of Selena. She claims she did not murder Selena, that she pointed the gun at her and the gun just went off. Well, first of all, why would you point a gun at someone that you don't intend to shoot or kill? See, there's something that's not adding up. And because Selena is no longer here, we can't really ask her why did she go back to that hotel room, because from what the documentary was saying, Selena had went to the hotel room twice in a week. And Yolanda had bought that gun, and then she sold it back to the store or gave it back to the store. Then she went back and bought it again. Now, some people say that Yolanda was disgruntled because Selena was getting rid of her and getting her out of her life. She was going to fire her from whatever she was doing for Selena. I think she was managing her boutiques or something like that. I don't know. But she was going to fire Yolanda out of her life and out of her businesses. And some people say that Yolanda was disgruntled behind that. And I am leaning more so towards that narrative. However, what makes this kind of messy is her family. I'm going to be honest with you. Her family has presented evidence to suggest otherwise. You have to watch that documentary because her family does have some very, very convincing evidence that everything was not as it seemed. That maybe it just leaves a question and a doubt, you know? So it's very, very hard to really discern what's really going on because I believe that there's some lies on top of lies. And I do believe that Selena's father, in my opinion, I do believe that he did not like Yolanda and he did not want her in Selena's life. I think that he felt like Yolanda was a bad influence on Selena in some ways, in the sense that Yolanda would not reveal to him some of the things that Selena was doing. Because one of the things, as I mentioned earlier, was that she was having an affair with a man and she had a whole husband. See, these things are coming out now. But who gives a shit? Who gives a shit if Selena was having an affair? She was a beautiful woman. You know men was going to desire her. She was only 20. Was she 23 when she died? 23, 24 when she died? Because she died not long before. Because you know what's interesting? She died, and I'm not trying to bring anybody else in on this. This is, I'm talking about Selena. But it's interesting. She died in 95. Tupac died in 96. And then Biggie died in 97. And they were all around the same age, early 20s. So it's very interesting, the dynamics of the 90s. You know what I mean? But here is my question, and this is the question of all questions. Why are they reopening these old wounds? Why are they reopening these old wounds? For her family, for Yolanda Saldivar's family, for the fans, the admirers, her friends. Why are they reopening these old wounds? Her husband remarried, but he has since divorced, Chris Perez. He remarried and went on with his life. So why are we giving this woman, Yolanda Saldivar, why are we giving her airtime? Don't we have enough Yolanda Saldivars out there who don't take accountability or responsibility for anything? You know what would have been better? If they would have done a documentary of redemption and responsibility. And if she would have said, you know what? I made a terrible, terrible error in judgment, and I allowed my demons to get the best of me. And I know I have a life sentence and I'm never getting out of jail because, if they let her out of jail, then, just like they did with that Charles Manson follower, they let her out of jail. And I thought that was wrong. That was wrong. They let her out of jail. It's equivalent to the same thing, in my opinion. And I'm not really talking as a fanatic or fan like that of Selena's, although I did admire her work and I admired her contribution to music and artistry in the universe. I respect her for that. I'm speaking from a non-biased place. There are enough Yolanda Saldivars out here in the world now that don't take any responsibility, that don't take any accountability for anything that they do. And I thought this was going to be an interview of redemption. Instead, the way that they're trying to flip it, well, Selena was having affairs, was having an affair. Her father was a tyrant. I mean, this isn't what I'm saying. This is what they're trying to paint. They're trying to paint a picture to make it easier for Yolanda to get parole or paroled. And the picture that they're painting, they're trying to sacrifice Selena all over again, in my opinion. The woman is dead. She's dead. So now they're trying to bring out her secrets and tell all her secrets and talk about how she was having an affair and how her businesses were failing. I mean, they were talking about a whole bunch of stuff. How she and her father were going back, were always at odds. Well, her father was the equivalent to Joe Jackson. He was like the Latin Joe Jackson or Hispanic Joe Jackson or whatever you want to call it. Mexican Joe Jackson, I don't know. He wanted his daughter to be successful. I don't see anything wrong with that. And maybe he was a little bit harder on her. But one thing about it, I mean, I think he loved his daughter. But this documentary just goes to show you the times that we live in, that even after 29 years, she is still lying, saying that she didn't kill Selena. You did kill Selena. Yolanda, see, I didn't know this. See, but in a way, I'm kind of glad that this documentary did come out because it did shed some light on some things that we didn't know. When they said when they said Selena was having an affair, I was like, bitch, are you serious? So it was a lot of different things I was interested to hear about. But the thing that really puts the nail in Yolanda's coffin that maybe they should have kept silent, that really shows her guilt in this. And someone pointed it out in the comment section of a video that I was looking at in reference to this documentary. And they said, well, if it, because Yolanda, her whole story is that she was going to kill herself. They said she was going to kill herself. And that this is what Yolanda said her account. This was Yolanda's account of events. This is her account of events. She was going to kill herself. Selena told her no. And then Selena went to shut the door or something like that. And Yolanda says she pointed the gun at Selena by accident and said, no, don't shut the door. And the gun went off. Here's the problem with that. Yolanda Saldivar is a nurse. She's a nurse. She's a nurse. If you had no intentions, and somebody said this, and it makes sense. If you had no intentions of killing Selena, then why didn't you try to help her when you shot her? According to a witness, they heard Yolanda Saldivar call Selena a bitch. They heard struggling, like two women were arguing. And Selena ran out of the hotel room, and I think they were at the Days Inn. She ran out of Yolanda's hotel room and ran to the lobby and said, please lock the doors, call the police. This woman is trying to kill me. She shot me. And then Selena collapsed, and those were her last words. She died. And if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Yolanda Saldivar have hollow point bullets? Wasn't those hollow point bullets she had in that gun? And for those who don't know what hollow point bullets are, hollow point bullets explode inside of you, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know a whole lot about guns, but I do know about hollow point bullets. I learned about them on the soap opera One Life to Live when they had a gang storyline on One Life to Live. And guess what? 1995. Y'all gonna stop playing with me with these motherfucking numbers and years. They killed off a beloved character on One Life to Live named Luna in August of 95. She got caught in the crossfire in a Latin and Hispanic neighborhood, and it, according to the storyline on One Life to Live, in Angel Square, and her character was killed off. And she was a beloved. Her character was a beloved character, similar to Selena. So don't tell me that no occultism doesn't play a part in this. The 1990s were very, very sinister too. Don't make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. But if I'm not mistaken, those bullets were hollow point bullets, if I'm not mistaken, from the original report. Now they may try to change it now because you know how y'all know how they do now. They make up stuff that's not true now. They change records. They take things out. But we under the Mandela effect. So if I'm not mistaken, she shot Selena with hollow point bullets. Hollow point bullets make it very hard for people to survive a gunshot because they explode inside of you. So my question remains, if she did not mean to kill Selena, which we know she did, if she did not mean to kill Selena, as she has been adamant about all of these years that it was an accident, you're a nurse. Why didn't you try to help her? Why was she running for her life? Because there's a blood trail of her running from Yolanda's room at the Days Inn into the Days Inn office. So it just doesn't make sense. I understand that her family wants to find some peace with this. And you know, maybe there was a time, because they also brought up the point that the way that the public and the way that things are being shaped as in terms of Yolanda, how Yolanda is viewed, that it's not really all the way the truth. Maybe not. But what is the truth is that she killed her. How does Selena having an affair, how does her father being a little rough around the edges, how does all of that deny the fact that she killed Selena? She didn't do anything to help her when she shot her, and she's a nurse. Now, there is some evidence to suggest that Yolanda was getting ready to stop working for Selena on her own accord. These are the things that her family has come up with. So maybe, I don't know. I don't know. But what I do know is she killed Selena. And I keep saying that because that is what we seem to forget. She killed Selena. And they're talking about letting this, the thought of her even getting parole. I don't even think she should be eligible for parole. The judge that sentenced her in 1995 should have made it with no possibility of parole. They should have sentenced her with no possibility of parole. She does not need to be walking around on the street, in my opinion. Give her let her stay in there another 30 years. Maybe let her out when she's 100, in my opinion. This is what's wrong with the world now, in my opinion. People harm people, they stalk people, they harass people, and then they want to do this, then they want to go into this victim, because now what they're really trying to do, her family, and I understand her family's trying to do this, and I don't have anything against Yolanda's family, because they are just as much victims as Selena is. They're also being victimized by this documentary. But they're trying to make Yolanda look like a victim. They're trying to victimize her and make her look like a victim. Like she did nothing wrong. But the prosecutors who prosecuted her, he's still around. And they're saying that a lot of this stuff that she's saying in this documentary, there's really no basis or no foundational proof. So basically, they're trying to say she's making a lot of this stuff up. But then at the same time, there is proof There is some proof that Yolanda was telling the truth about some things, but whatever she's telling the truth about, it does not tip the justice scale in her favor as it pertains to Selena's murder. She murdered Selena. It doesn't matter, you know, it just doesn't matter what she says at this point. Why are we giving this woman airtime? And is Yolanda Saldivar already out of jail? Is she already out of jail and they just haven't told the public? Is that what's happening? Because you know, a lot of times they will do stuff, and when I say they, I mean the government. They will do things and then tell us later on. So this documentary could very well be 4 or 5 years old. It could very well be 4 or 5 years old because you know during the I'm going to say during that interesting time a few years back when everything was shut down, there was a lot of things that were happening that we didn't even know about. Especially in Texas. And that is where all of this took place. Corpus Christi, Texas? Yeah. So could she already be out of jail and we don't even know about it? Because they do things like that. The public is not always privy to everything. But I'm just disappointed that they are giving this woman more airtime. I'm not disappointed in her family because they're hurt. I don't fault her family. They love Yolanda because that's their relative. People love their relatives no matter what. But we don't have to love her. We have a right as the public to be protected from people like that. Because, see, the problem is this is bigger than Yolanda Saldivar. This is a judicial issue where people who commit violent crimes like this, they let them out 30 years later after viciously murdering someone. Just like I know a guy who killed maybe 6 people, but they only got him for 3 bodies. He did 30 years and was able to get out of jail in his early 60s. Well, in your early 60s, you can still live a pretty good life now. That's not really old now. They let him out after 30 years for killing 3 people. And guess where he's from? Texas. He's from Texas too. But he lives here in the DC area now. He's an older dude. I just think that let these wounds heal for people. Why are they reopening these old wounds? Selena has been dead for 29 years, but her spirit lives on. And I mean that literally, so many people still love her. So many people still love Selena. Let Selena live on in spirit without this attachment to her. She's done with all of that. With the Yolanda Saldivar stuff, excuse me. She's done with all of that. Let her live on in doing what she does best, which is helping people find happiness, helping people find peace. That's what she does in the spirit. She's a very high ranking, let's just say she's on a high spiritual hierarchy. And she's done with all of that. She's done with all of that. She doesn't want anything else to do with that. Let her spirit persevere in a positive way, because this documentary is just reopening old wounds. It's opening up these old portals that have closed down. We don't want to deal with that anymore. But like I said, it's a bigger picture because this is the type of world that we live in. Now, they want us to feel compassion and empathy for a cold-blooded killer. Yolanda Saldivar is a good liar. She's a very convincing liar, like a lot of she's a Virgo. A lot of Virgos. A lot of us can lie our motherfucking asses off. We are very convincing liars. And I have to say that about us Virgos. So not me, but a lot of Virgos have the ability to talk, and we can convince people of things. Now, when I was a child, I could do that, but when you become an adult, you don't have a need to do that. But that is a very negative trait for some Virgos. We know how to lie. We know how to cry on cue. We know how to do shit like that. There's a darker side to all zodiacs. She's a Virgo. And I know that I know when I look at her, I say, oh, she being the typical motherfucking September Virgo. She's being the typical September Virgo. She's going to mix in truths in order to garner sympathy and compassion from people. Now, do I believe that somebody slashed her tires and that her car was shot out? And do I believe those things happened to her possibly? Yes, I do. I do believe those things could have happened to her, to Yolanda Saldivar. Do I believe that she was having a breakdown? Yes, I do. Do I believe that there's more that is not being revealed? Yes, I do. But I also believe that she purposely killed Selena. And until I see evidence to suggest otherwise, that is what I'm going to always believe, that she purposely killed her. There's no way you can call yourself a nurse and then you say she's your friend. You call Selena your friend, but you let your friend bleed out. You pointed the gun at your friend. If you were trying to kill yourself, why would you point the gun at Selena and then say the gun went off? That's a typical Virgo move, trying to cover up your lies. And then you're trying to add, well, she was having an affair. So what? So what, she was having an affair? Do you know how many married people have affairs? What does that have to do with what you did to her? And why are they reopening these old wounds? I know I'm repeating that, but why are they doing that? For what ritualistic purpose? What are they trying to do? Are they trying to feed off of Selena's spirit? Because that's what I feel like they're doing. Are they trying to feed off of her spirit? Are they trying to sacrifice her again for fame and a prosperity and abundance, and for Yolanda to get her freedom? Her father had nothing to do with this documentary. Neither did the Dr. Martinez, the man that she was supposedly having an affair with. He didn't have anything to do with this documentary either. Let Selena rest in power. Let her do what she does on the other side. Let her do what she do. She doesn't want anything to do with this anymore. She doesn't want anything to do with this. She doesn't even want to talk about it anymore. She's moved on. It took her a while, her spirit a while, to move on. She was stuck for a while. But I feel like an abuela or something came and got her unstuck. I feel like that. An older woman, an abuela, like a grandmother, came and got her unstuck and helped her to transition into what they call, the higher dimensions. So let that go. Stop reopening old wounds and stop. I think the most disgraceful thing that they could have done was given this woman airtime. If her family wanted to speak, that would be different. But giving Yolanda Saldivar airtime and attention, I think that is horrible. but it's really a sign of the times that we live in. The perpetrator becomes the victim. And that's what they're trying to do. So, no, I'm not buying it. I don't think that she should be released or paroled in 2025. I think that she should spend the rest of her life in jail. Same thing with Betty Broderick, who murdered her husband, her ex-husband, Dan Broderick, and his new wife, Linda Kalkina, even though I do understand what Betty Broderick was going through. Just like I may understand what Yolanda may have been going through. Yeah, I do believe the father was being kind of, mean to her. And I think it's possible he could have done some of the things that she claimed. I believe that. I'll give her that much. But why would you kill Selena, though? Why would you kill Selena? Oh, that's right, because Selena was cutting ties with you. She was cutting ties with you. Again, she was never brought up on any charges of embezzlement or scamming or anything like that. So that is a gray area. That's like a question mark. So I don't know if that's exactly true because she claims they found checks that Yolanda Saldivar had written to herself from Selena's fan club, but Yolanda claims Selena told her to do that. And that so she could continuously go and have an affair with that man. And that may be true. She did that, gave those checks and went and cashed those checks so there would be no trace of Selena doing it. And she gave the money to Selena. So maybe Yolanda did get caught up in something. I'll give her that much. Maybe she did get caught up in something. But why did you kill Selena? And then this is just my opinion, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. Is there a possibility that maybe, could be, that Yolanda is telling the truth? I don't know. But I do think there is more to this story. There is a lot more that's going on here that we really don't know, that we're not privy to. There's a whole lot more that we don't know. And it's very interesting that that doctor and the father refused to, that they didn't want to take part in the documentary. Well, they have a good reason not to, because they don't want to reopen those old wounds. I understand that. But the documentary was good. I will give them that much. It was good. It gave a lot of tea that we didn't know was going on during that time. We didn't know that Selena was having an affair. We didn't know that Yolanda was being harassed and beat up and all of these things that she attributed to Selena's father. I don't know. But do I believe he could have done that? Yes. I don't put nothing past nobody. But what does that have to do with her killing Selena? Why didn't she kill her father if that was the case? You were so afraid of her father. Why did you kill Selena? I would have went after him. Her father, according to Yolanda Saldivar, was the one harassing her. So why didn't you kill her father? That's my question. You said that he was threatening you. You said that he sent men to beat you up in a bathroom in at some place called Waterburger or whatever, someplace. Waterburger, some shit. You said her father did all these things to you. So why not kill him? Why kill Selena? Something's not adding up. Something is just not adding up. And usually when something is not adding up, then somebody telling a motherfucking lie. And the person that's telling a motherfucking lie is sitting right in jail where she belongs. The perpetrator becomes the victim. And I'm not buying it. Anyway, that's all I have to say on this whole thing with Selena and Yolanda Saldivar. Let's stop opening this old wound up again. Let's close it for good. Selena was a sensation. She was beautiful. She is still missed. Her talent is still missed. She had a beautiful voice. She was beautiful. I said that once. I said that already because she was such a stunning woman. And she just had so much to live for. She was taking off. I think she won a Grammy. I mean, she was just, Selena was just, she was, oh, I just can't find the word. She was just wonderful. And it's so sad that her life had to be cut short because of a jealous, demented, sick person who started out as a fan. Be careful of your fans, celebrities. Be careful of your fans. See, I don't call myself a fan of anyone. I'm an admirer of their work because fan is synonymous with a fanatic. I don't want any fans. That's why I don't allow people to access me. Because people are weird. Men and women are fucking weird. They are weird. It ain't just one gender. They're both weird to me. Especially when they call themselves fans. No, I'm not talking on the phone with you. No, we ain't going out to, no, we ain't doing none of that. You know, if I don't know you, I don't fuck with you. But I think that we can all learn a lesson from this Selena tragedy, even 30 years later. We can learn a lesson that you have to be careful. And her nephew, I think it was Selena's nephew that said that in the documentary. Or somebody said it in the documentary. Who said it? Maybe it was a video I was watching, but somebody made the point that you have to be careful who you have around you. You have to be careful who you allow in your universe. And they should have never made a fan the manager of her fan club. Yolanda approached them about being the manager of the fan club. She approached them. That should have been a red flag right there. You don't let somebody approach you about being some manager in your company or whatever, anything affiliated with you when you are someone like a Selena. You have to be careful about that, especially if you're well known in the public eye. Just like my friend Christopher, you know, he was a public figure in a sense because of his father. And he had to be careful about the fans that were around him. Now me, he knew, see, I'm not, and I don't say this to be disrespectful, but I'm not a fanatic about public figures. You know what I mean? They're drawn to me. I'm not really drawn to them. They're drawn to me. Maybe because I'm cool and laid back. Like when I met my friend Chris, it wasn't like I was trying to get on Facebook and, you know, show everybody who I'm hanging with and all that. No, we had an intimate, private relationship that was between he and I. When he came in my door, he knew it wasn't going to go any further. Now, when he died, I talked about it, of course, because that's my prerogative, because that's my story. That's my song. I can do that. But it wasn't in a way to expose him, because I'm going to tell you something. I could have made some money. I could have made some money, y'all, when he died. I could have easily went to the newspapers and gave them a story. And I could have made some money if I really wanted to. But that's not the type of person that I am. I don't do stuff like that. I could be in a much better financial position if I gave them a story in 2016 about Christopher Barry. If I would have. But I'm not a Yolanda Saldivar. And that's another thing. I think she's using Selena's name to get something, to garner attention. So that's why I say, are you trying to sacrifice her all over again? Was Selena's death a sacrifice gone wrong? See, it's something in that banana pudding that ain't gelling right, y'all. And I know banana pudding don't gel, but you know what I'm saying. It's something that's not right about this. It's something that's not right about this. It's just something not right. From the father, Yolanda, then Selena's death, the father accusing Yolanda of embezzlement, to Yolanda accusing the father of threatening her and terrorizing her, something is not right in this story. The only thing that is definite is that Yolanda killed Selena. And I'm wondering, was this a sacrifice gone wrong? If so, who was Yolanda working for? If I'm just speculating. Who was she working for? Was there a hit? Was there a target on Selena? Was there a target mark on her life? I'm just asking questions because there is something that is not being said. There's something that's not being said. And maybe in another 30 years, the truth will come out. Finally, after, everybody else is gone, about what really happened to Selena and what was really going on in the underground world of it all. Because something ain't right. You say that was your friend. You accidentally shot her, you said. You're a nurse, but you don't try to assist her after you accidentally shot your friend. Make it make sense, Yolanda girl. Make it make sense, honey. Is Yolanda a bruja? Was she trying to do work on Selena? And it went to the left? It's the same thing with Betty Broderick and Linda and Dan Broderick. Did Linda Colcana, because I really believe, did Linda Colcana, did she go and have work done to break up Betty Broderick and Dan Broderick, but she didn't know the type of witch that Betty Broderick was? That Betty Broderick was a witch who was determined to keep her family together. She didn't know what she was coming up against, and she went and had work done, and the work ended up backfiring on her. That happens sometimes. I'm just asking questions. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I just wanted to touch on that because I thought that documentary was interesting. But let the wounds heal. Let's close these wounds up. We don't need to keep reliving that with Selena and her murder and all of that. We don't need to keep reliving that. Stop giving this woman airtime. Stop giving the Yolanda Saldivars of the world, whether they're men or women, stop giving these people airtime. They don't deserve it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.